Hi, everybody, and welcome to OpenExO Live. It's so great to have you with us. Today, we have Diego Soroa, who is based in Spain, usually in Madrid, but now up north. And you can see we have a number of amazing people who are up next. So before I get Diego on screen, I'm going to just be sharing some words from our community about Diego. So first of all, we have from Suman Sasmal, who's based in India. It's just saying there is no session of Diego's that I know he's offering that I have not attended. He makes things clear. He explains things like nobody else can. He is simply an ocean of knowledge. He connects several concepts and puts them in context. I really owe it to him. Everybody, please don't miss him. You'll come out enriched. Then we have Vanessa Belmonte, who's based in Miami, who says, Diego is the kind of person who effortlessly embodies heart, soul, and intellect. His architecture and cultural contributions and his ability to articulate concepts and connects as an EXO coach is unprecedented. If you've ever had the ability to work with or learn from Diego, jump at it because it'll change your life forever. Then we have Yaroslav, who is the Chief Learning Officer at OpenExO, who says, Diego is thorough, reliable, professional, creative, and always looking for new and original ways to make things happen. He's been a valuable and committed member of our community from the very beginning and continues to play an active role in Spain and globally. Great to have you part of our community, Diego. And then lastly, we have Anne Riley, who is based in Barcelona, who says, I was certified as an EXO coach when Diego led the training. I was so impressed by his approach and insights, and therefore was excited and confident about the opportunity ahead to help companies to transform. Diego is awesome to work with, and every time I hear him speak, I learn something new. So get out your notepad and listen up. So it's really great to have Diego with us. Diego, welcome. To everybody who's watching, please, as Anne has said, get out your pads and get out your fingers. If you have any questions for Diego, you can post those if you're on Facebook or if you are on LinkedIn. That'll be great. We look forward to answering those as we have this discussion. So, Diego, can you just give folks a bit of an idea of where you're from, who you are? How did you get to be on the screen with us today?
Hello, Kevin, and hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here with you, share these little minutes. And I really want to thank the people that made the introduction. I think that was just amazing, overwhelming. So I'm a little bit pressured now to be relevant in that way to you. But let's give it a try. So my name is Diego, and I come from the Basque country, which is a little region in the north of Spain. And I am originally an architect. I've always been passionate about transforming reality and how you can use design and technology to create those little things that could have a massive impact on society. In the past, I was all about designing cities and designing.
Oh dear, it seems that we have just lost Diego. I know he's up in the north of Spain. Almost time for holidays, so let me just double check what's happened there, and hopefully we can get him back. Perhaps the internet has dropped. And he is back. So let me add him to the stream.
I don't know what happened. Sorry about this. So I was just
no worries.
Myself. Yeah, well, so I came from architecture, but then I understood that working with clients that are themselves trying to shape the future is much more fun. So that's why I went to Singularity University, where I met Salim. And I was part of the Foundational 100, the people that gathered on his book, Exponential Organizations. And then we started running the first really the first sprint together that we designed a little bit on the go. And since that has been, I think, some 6 or 7 years ago, and since I've been part of this family, this amazing community. It is really, truly an amazing community in which probably you'll find people to learn from really, really fast. So happy
Absolutely.
to be there.
And Diego, so what really was that main motivation to really be part of the whole movement around EXO?
So I would say it happened organically. First of all, this generosity of Salim Ismail of identifying what seems to be working for some companies and sharing it with a greater community and with the people around himself. I think that was the initial attractor. And then I saw that systematically as I worked with more clients and with people within the community, my learning was accelerated. I was exposed to much more interesting clients worldwide from very different industries, and I kept on learning faster and faster. So that has been the main motivation, plus the alignment with the people that are in this community for positively impacting our reality. So that is a perfect combination.
Okay, absolutely. And today I was looking back at your sort of life and where Diego's come from. I mean, we've worked together on the certifications and a number of things, and you were very much in design thinking. So what do you think is different about the EXO model, and how does that framework fit in?
Yeah, so one thing that I really like about our approach is that we are more radical than other companies in our questions. We begin with a question of what will disrupt you, what will make you render you obsolete. So that is a deep of a question that is actually our starting point. We try to understand where disruption might come from. We try to broaden our perspectives, try to jump from our previous industry perspective and try to, following Rita McGrath's advice, looking more to the arenas to understand, to be a little more sensible where, to understand where new radical value propositions or approaches might come from. And then once we understand where disruption might come from, then we try to have a double reaction to that. One of them is, well, let's try to adapt to that disruption with incremental solutions, leveraging some of the exponential attributes that we know of. And the other one is, well, why don't we try to become the disruptors? See, that requires an imagination effort that not too many companies are capable of, not too many leaders are capable of, or at least they can massively benefit from the guidance and support of EXO coaches. So that, I believe, is what is radically different. The initiatives themselves, the several initiatives that we come up with at the end of the sprints that we do, are vehicles for the transformation. But ultimately, I would say that the highest value that we propose is the exponential thinking, not the digital transformation, but the exponential transformation, or at least the early paths towards that transformation.
No, absolutely, and ultimately, I mean, the organizations all know that they're being disrupted. I mean, and many organizations that even I've grown up with don't exist any longer. So where are people anticipating that this comes from? How should they be reacting to that?
So I would say that disruption most likely will happen. I mean, that is actually part of the creative destruction and even part of the capitalistic approach, right? We have new initiatives, we have new ideas that render the previous obsolete. The problem is that we don't see that coming. We have in our business model, we have some certainties, some assumptions that we validated in the past, but that no longer are necessarily valid. So we need to understand that disruption will happen precisely at those certainties that define our activity. We can easily make a quick exercise trying to review our assumptions related to the problems that we're trying to solve. For example, what is the problem that Instagram solves is not the quality of the pictures, is the abundance of pictures, right? And that is a completely new problem. Or if you're in the automaking industry, you see that there is a new problem that needs to be solved, which is the insurance problem. Who pays who covers the accident in case of the car in self-driving mode, right? So that's a new problem that legacy companies, no matter how big and large and established they are, they need to identify. What is the problem that Starbucks is solving now? In the past, it was the need to create a third space between the office and your home, right? So now that we are working from home, what is the problem they are solving? It needs to be a different understanding, a different problem. And if you don't understand those differences, if you don't, you're probably not understanding the raison d'être, the reason for being of your organization. And then we can take the other look to our solution space, the solutions that we're bringing. For example, I'm working with a real estate company in India, and their value proposition or their offering is building office spaces. So building, construction, design is the solution. But what is the problem now? Is it still the same problem? Probably not. So if they need to provide solutions related to increase collaboration, to increase solving of problems, etc. Well, maybe they now need to incorporate different solutions to the solution scope, or otherwise they will render themselves obsolete by design.
Absolutely, but how do you get the team to understand that and to realize that?
Yes, one of the things that I very much insist to my teams is to this idea of the radicality on their approaches. I mean, see, there's always a question of what will disrupt you, what will make you obsolete. Even when you are trying to be the disruptor, it's not easy to keep that idea, that question in mind. So it's something that I keep on insisting. Once again, I also suggest that disruption is relative to something. I mean, something, a reality, a technology, a business model that might be disruptive to my activity doesn't necessarily disrupt you. So we need to understand and review what we are doing and the way we're doing it to understand, to broaden our perspective of what might disrupt it. So before we do this effort of the disruptive research, I think we need to do an introspective effort to review ourselves, to reinterpret ourselves to the lens of abundance. For example, do we have a business model based on scarcity, or is it based on an abundance? So what is the abundance that can change the scarcity that I'm based on? See, that is another question that is generative. I mean, there's actually several different approaches. We also propose the idea of the MTP, the massive transformative purpose, which is a utopian description of the future that you want to participate or create, or to help create. See, that might ignite some very interesting disruptive ideation process. Other times, it's just about trying to identifying the asymmetries, the established asymmetries within a given system. I remember working in Dubai with a construction company. They wanted to redesign the company from the ground up, and we started precisely there, try to identify who are the relevant stakeholders and what is not working for each one of those, and build the new foundations of the ecosystem on solving those asymmetries, those established assumptions.
Well, speaking about that, Miguel's just asked this question about, can you explain to the audience what AEDI is, which of course is around those asymmetries. So yeah, maybe Diego, if you can just do that.
So I told you at the beginning that most likely the disruptions to your business will happen on your assumptions. And there is a special category of assumptions that are related to the way that you interact with your clients, the way that you interact with your providers. So there's many examples in across industries that prove that there are established asymmetries that not necessarily should be like that. But for so long, these companies or these industries were able to get around with those asymmetries. Now it is a time to propose radical new value propositions, and a very good way to understand where you might be disrupted or how you can propose a radical new value proposition is by understanding what is working. For example, when you do an international transfer, a wire transfer with a bank, they might charge you up to a 15% and delay the conversion and impose a conversion rate. which is a practice that has been ongoing for the last 20 years. In the past, it was justified to do so. Now, in the present, you have companies that actually have found system like TransferWise to make that transfer active immediately, and they allow you to choose your conversion rate. So those kind of companies are thriving on the established asymmetries, the asymmetric established disadvantages that in the past were so beneficial for traditional stakeholders. Identify one of those asymmetries, and you might be into something disruptive.
Absolutely. But I mean, often the people are asking, well, like, how can I know that this is going to actually be something that is disruptive? Like, we don't have a crystal ball, but people want that crystal ball. So what do you say to those people?
So I think the quality of the initiative that we are working with is always dependent on the quality of the problem. So as Albert Einstein suggested in the past, if I had 100 days to save the Earth, I'll dedicate 99% of finding the right problem, right? So that's exactly my suggestion. Try to sophisticate and to have a very, very high quality problem definition. That means restating your problem. That means making sure that there is no biases on your problem description. That means benchmarking, understanding who else is trying to solve that problem, and keep in mind that radicality, that radical approach. Radical not as in extremists, but radical as something that goes to the root. Because when you go to the root, when you go really deep, dig deep into the origin, or at least one of the origins of a problem, you can make sure that, or you will be sure that nobody will surpass you from the left or from the side, because there is no extra layers that you can get rid of. So you are into something essential that most likely cannot be further radicalized. Then when you have that, you probably have a beautiful idea that that is going to be much harder to disrupt. But this concept of disruption is also temporary. So the certainties that we gain are only temporary, and even the disruptions that we generate might only be temporary. All of the assumptions that we create to build those initiatives, disruptive initiatives, are the weak points for the future disruption.
Absolutely. And when you talk radical, when I was in India, I was having a discussion with Suman, who we both, of course, know, and we were talking about the radical idea of the fact that if we do go to space, perhaps we could somehow get our energy direct from the sun, as a way of thinking, because the problem is we need energy in our body, and the way we currently get it is through food. But is that the only way? And I think that's what you're talking about when you're saying think radical.
Yes. So there are in our ideas, there are assumptions, there are biases, there are mistakes. Sometimes we in the very problem definition, we are even forcing the solution. See, all of those things are preventing our perspective to be radical enough.
Absolutely. So Diego, as we come to a close in this conversation, who at the moment are you sort of learning from the most and following, and how do you come up with all these like amazing thoughts and ideas?
So actually, I would say the very community, our EXO community, is definitely one of those places. We have amazing curators of people that are constantly seeking, searching, and finding and sharing knowledge. So being in the EXO community is definitely a benefit in terms of being updated and digesting every massive accelerated change that we're going through. But there is also individuals that I'm following. The one that I am most passionate about lately is Rita McGrath. I mentioned her at the beginning. She's just amazing. She's written a couple of books. One of them is Seeing Around Corners, the latest, and the previous one was The End of the Competitive Advantage, which is a concept that is very similar to my idea of thinking out of the moat, thinking outside of the competitive advantage and thinking outside of those factors that supposedly protected us from disruption or from competitors. So if you go and analyze new modes, you might find how those modes might be disruptive, and then you'll find how you might be disrupted. So yeah, Rita McGrath is definitely one of of my best sources lately. But we are in a sweet moment in which everybody's sharing, everybody's online, and you can just get connected to amazing quantity of knowledge, open, free, and instant for you to further your thinking and to sophisticate your ideas. So yeah, that's what I'm doing lately, benefiting from this combination.
No, absolutely. I mean, I know that we are always saying we are pretty much living, in such an exciting time where knowledge is so readily available, and there is so much more collaboration. So, I mean, Diego, it's always such a pleasure to chat to you, and I think we need to have a conversation offline anyway, just to catch up.
Absolutely, it's been a while now.
I trust that you're going to have an amazing time up there in the north of Spain, such a beautiful place of the world, and we'll hopefully chat to you soon. So thanks very much, Diego.
Thanks to you, Kevin, and thanks to all of your audience. See you soon.
Awesome. Bye-bye. So it was so great chatting to Diego. If you want to be a part of the community, we highly recommend that you do so. You can just find us at openexo.com. And I wanted to also just let everybody know about the OpenExO Small Business Summit, that the EXO World Small Business Summit that will be happening on the 14th of July. That is next week, Tuesday. So if you are running a small business, or you know people who are running a small business that wants to understand how to survive 2020 and thrive into the future, please join us. You can see the URL at the bottom of the screen. So it's been really great chatting to Diego, seeing you all. Join us next week, where we'll be speaking to Dea, who is from Hungary. Really excited for that. Thanks, everybody, and have a fantastic evening or day wherever you are.